Welcome, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to join Nividous and SMILE Payee Services. My name is Shelly, and I will be your host for today's session. And today we have with us Alan Hester, President of Nividous, and Lawrence Sharp, owner of SMILE Payee Services. Before we start, let me share some quick guidelines. If you face any trouble with the audio or video, please use the chat window on the side of the control panel. You can use a question window to share your questions related to webinar. Please feel free to raise those questions whenever you feel like it. If we don't have time to address them at the end of the session, we will be sure to get back to you via email. We will also send out the recording of the session and it will be available on our website for download. I will now go ahead and open today's session with a brief introduction to Nividous. Founded in 2011, we aim to help businesses work at their peak efficiency with our intelligent automation platform. We offer vertical solutions to help empower companies of all sizes, and one of the biggest differentiators of our platform is that RPA, AI, and process orchestration capabilities are natively developed within the platform. This key differentiator helps us enable our customers to achieve end-to-end process automation. We are also recognized for our work by leading global research analysts such as Gartner, Forrester, and Everest Group. All right, so I will now pass it over to Lawrence, who will be sharing a brief overview of SMILE Payee Services and get us started with our topic. Lawrence, over to you.
Well, good afternoon, and it's a pleasure to be a part of this exciting webinar. SMILE Payee Services was started back in 2008 in Cleveland, Ohio. Currently, we provided services in Maryland, started in 2014. Then this year, we opened up in Virginia. We are a fee-for-service nonprofit organization. We have a contract with the Department of Treasury where we manage the monthly benefits for approximately 1,500 individuals in Ohio, Maryland, and soon to be Virginia. We have been successfully doing what we do since 2008, and we give money to our clients every Wednesday on a reloadable personalized debit card. And we're proud to say that our staff are SOAR trained, which is an acronym that Social Security program accelerates the time frame for which an eligible individual can receive benefits. With that, I'm going to pass it back to Alan.
All right, thanks, Lawrence. Good to be joining you here today for this conversation. I think we're going to have some interesting things to talk about. I'm going to get started by just laying a little bit of groundwork here about what's happening with AI and technology in general as it relates to financial services and digital payments. I think you probably can understand, based on Lawrence's quick description of his business, that there are a lot of different aspects of financial services involved in what SMILE does. And so we have been helping them to try to automate that. But we're going to start out being just a little bit more general than that and talk about some of the things that are happening right now within technology and how people are using it in their financial services businesses. So as you look through the list here, maybe some of these will immediately jump out to you and you'll recognize how you're doing this in your organization and maybe how you're leveraging technology. But just within security and fraud prevention, there's a lot of usage now with machine learning, being able to identify fraudulent transactions and bot behavior, as well as just spoofing. Those kinds of things now can a lot of times be automatically detected just by looking at behavior patterns of the individuals or the systems that are trying to access things. There's also a lot of biometrics that are being used now. I'm sure you, like me, are being inundated now with all of the systems that you've been using for a long time. Now you might have to use things like multi-factor authentication, and in addition to just logging in and having a password, you might have to also use a text message or some kind of security key to get in. So there's a lot of additional things like that that are happening as well. A lot of what people are trying to do within financial services in general is to make the experience good for the users, but also make it a very secure and meaningful experience as well. So that when someone is accessing any kind of service, that they can do it quickly, easily, get what they want, have it be painless, but still have it be very secure. And so the other things that you see from a technology standpoint that are playing into that now are things like predictive analytics, right? Where systems are detecting user needs and preferences, and even being able to pre-populate forms or other pieces of information that might be required for you to conduct a transaction. And then the other thing that we see a lot now is conversational AI. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the buzz about ChatGPT, and you've heard about these large language models and the things that they're capable of. And conversational AI is kind of related to that, an aspect of that. And if you think about the old school telephone tree type experience where there was a recording that would have you press a number, and that would be a way of navigating through a system for a company to figure out who you are, what you're looking to do, that kind of thing. And now that can all be done just with having a fairly natural conversation with a bot. And in fact, in some cases, you might not even know it's a bot until you listen really closely, because the voices are also getting much better. The other things that we could talk about here quickly is AI-powered recommendations. So being able to use AI to provide guidance, really for all kinds of things, but as it relates to financial products and services, looking at your financial goals, your spending habits, budgeting, investments, all of those kinds of things, AI can play a role in that. And also authentication. We talked about this a little bit when I was mentioning about logins and multi-factor authentication. Then on the back office side, we have things like just general purpose task automation. That's bread and butter type activity for us. And regulatory compliance within financial services, this is a big issue. Maybe Lawrence, here you could just jump in and say, from the standpoint of your business, what role does regulatory compliance play for you?
Well, it's a major one because of the volume of monies that we move, is close to $30 million a year through our local bank, is to provide a sense of safety and security to the federal government, that the monies that we've been trusted with are being used appropriately for the benefit of the clients that we serve.
Okay. And I think that many of you out there that might be in other kinds of financial services businesses would have those same type of experiences in some ways within your organization. So moving forward here, let me just cover these last few and then we can move on. Secure data sharing and data analysis within within the open banking and the APIs, giving or enabling a holistic view of people's finances and innovative payment solutions, being able to use AI to analyze financial data from multiple sources to kind of figure out what are your best payment methods or best plans in general, considering all kinds of factors, things like the fees that come into play, or even things like the loyalty points or rewards that you might receive by making a purchase in one way versus another. So some fairly complex things can be done now if you are able to leverage AI as part of the process. We already talked about regulations a bit, but one of the things that's always true about the government in general, and certainly regulations more specifically, is that everything is always changing, right? And it's not easy to understand to start with, but it's even more difficult when you're standing on shifting sand that's changing all the time, and you feel like you just get on top of it and then it changes again. And so AI can really help you to keep track of not just where everything is, but where it's going, and staying on top of all those changes and making sure that you maintain the compliance that's required for your business. And then a couple of other things just kind of tag on to the end here. I know a lot of people think are a little bit skeptical about AI and think that maybe it's unethical to use it in some ways, and certainly there's a line there, right? I mean, I think the line right now is fairly gray, fairly murky, but I feel like there are a lot of people trying to define where the line is between a person or a company and the AI that they're using. And so I think, it's our responsibility for right now, it's our responsibility as users of this technology to decide for our businesses how we decide to use this, and make sure that the ways that we're using it are completely ethical. At some point, there might not be an option, and we might be regulated into using it a certain way. But for right now, it's definitely our responsibility to take care of that. And one of the ways to do that is making sure everyone understands how AI is being used and how the decision-making process is working, and what the sources of data are that are being leveraged in any given situation. And just keeping that open and honest communication in place makes it so that people have a greater level of trust when you're using AI. I mean, there are some people that are on board with it right away, and then there are others that are much more skeptical. So it's good to try to keep everything open and honest so that people will understand how you're using it, and they will hopefully come to embrace it over time. The last thing we want to talk about here from a technology standpoint is kind of a high-level view about how the Nividous platform leverages AI in conjunction with some other technologies to form end-to-end process automation for any kind of organization. So not just financial services organizations, but any organization that is in this kind of situation where there are multiple processes that have multiple tasks. A lot of them are currently being completed by humans, but they don't necessarily have to be completed by humans, because there are tasks that are mundane and repetitive, and they aren't really a part of a person's job. And so taking those kinds of things out of the mix make it a lot easier for people to focus on the kind of work that is highest value for them. And so you can see here on the slide that we use robotic process automation and low-code process automation in conjunction with artificial intelligence as a way to build these systems. And it's not important to understand how all of the technologies work and the ins and outs of all of it, But at a high level, the important thing to take away from this conversation is that using all these things in conjunction means that you can build those complete end-to-end process automations that we're talking about in a single system, and you can do it without getting rid of other systems that you've already purchased and are using, because this will seamlessly integrate with those and kind of work on top of it to make everyone's job easier, and perhaps even more importantly, give you a way to bring all of the data together from all of the different systems in a single place so that you can do some good reporting and create dashboards that help you to better manage your business. So now we're going to take a few minutes and look in a little more detail into Lawrence's business and some of the things that we have done for him that have really made a difference for him, or are making a difference, let's say, because some of this is still in progress, a work in progress, let's say. So, Lawrence, do you want to talk through this, or you want to go through?
I'll be glad to do that. And one of the things, as you was talking about artificial intelligence, that most of us utilize in our day-to-day lives and don't even think about it is in your vehicle when you have GPS. That is artificial intelligence at work. When you're typing something in one of the word processing platforms and the red squiggly lines come in the middle of the word, that's artificial intelligence, all the way from going to using your debit card or credit card and making payments to QR codes. So it is around us and has been utilized beneficial in several arenas. For us at SMILE, our quest started back in 2012 as we looked at the volume of documents that we process. We get between 4,000 to 5,000 pieces of mail a month. That up until recently, thanks to Nividous, we were able to get a machine to help us with that, but we were opening it all by hand. And from that, we were processing about 150 bills per month that we had to manually enter the data into our CRM, our customer relationship management software. And then we had to go ahead and try to verify the data on the bill into what we were going to pay out for each of our clients. As a result of our relationship with Nividous, they've allowed us to begin to automate that process from reading the artificial intelligence, reading the bill, matching it with the client, looking at the amount to be paid as well as going to go to. So that has increased our efficiency, and more importantly, our staff appreciates it because they don't have to be tirelessly on the keyboard and have to deal with carpal tunnel challenges from all of that manual labor.
Okay, we got another one here. So there are several different processes, as we mentioned, within Lawrence's organization that we're looking to automate. This first one here that he was just talking about is the payment posting. But we have another one called the reconciliation process. This is one that we're still working on today, but I feel like we're making some good progress on it. Maybe you could give us a little bit of background on this one too, Lawrence.
Yes, and because of the model of our business, we have over 70 different bank accounts, which we reconcile our bank accounts on a daily basis. One is a method to help detect if there's any fraudulent transaction versus waiting 30 to 45 days after receipt of the bank statement. So it's very, very time consuming, and you are prone to fat finger entries and just fatigue from staring at the computer screen and trying to match it to the transactions on the bank statement. And what it was surprising to me that because of artificial intelligence, those 70 bank accounts statements can be downloaded in less than 20 minutes, which was a huge benefit to staff that was charged with that piece of information. And now we're
How long, sorry, Lawrence, how long would that generally take if a person was doing it manually?
manually, that would take about 3 days for them to be able to do that in conjunction with having to do their day-to-day activities from the interruptions. And then they have to go back and try to figure out where they left off. And then they'd have to worry about the website timing out. So it was a lot of repetitive, what I call keystrokes, and trying to do what was necessary.
So one of the things I don't know that you talked that much about already, Lawrence, is maybe you could give some idea about your staff and the kinds. I mean, you talked about it just now as it relates to automated reconciliation process, but maybe just more in general about how much these automations can free up your staff and the kinds of other things that they're able to do as a result of that.
Yes. Prior to the automation, if any of you have ever gotten a desktop printer all-in-one machine from the big box retailer or the appliance store, we would scan our documents 15 or 20 at a time and then manually try to attach it to our client database, which was very, very, very time consuming, and it created havoc on the machine as well as for the staff. Now we have the ability through technology to have all of those documents scanned, and the robot goes in and matches the documents to each of the client records. They all have a virtual record depository, which now the client's documents can all be warehoused in one location versus us having to keep them filed, and then when you manually try to retrieve them, the person did not file them alphabetically the way it's supposed to. It took hours to try to find the document. So the technology that we have gotten from Nividous has been instrumental and monumental in us being able to more efficiently, and the staff is happier and they're getting less paper cuts from the volume of documents they no longer have to physically handle.
So maybe something else that you could talk a little bit about, Lawrence, is why the archival of these documents is necessary. You're not just keeping these around for the fun of it, right? You have a reason why you have to keep them for a certain amount of time, right?
Yes, we are required to keep documents for 2 years plus the current year. So in essence, it is for 3 years. Now, our average client gets approximately 4 documents per month. At 1,500 clients, that's 6,000 documents per month times 12 months times 3 years. So that is a room full of documents that we were warehousing. And if a document needed to be found from a year and a half ago, it would sometimes take a day and a half to go through, even though we had what we thought was a unique identification system and where the box was. If that document was not in the right folder, which is human interaction that does happen, it takes longer to find that document. So for us, in terms of a compliance perspective, makes it easier for us to be able to get that document sometimes within 30 seconds of us pushing a button for search.
So just by way of explanation, I'm not sure that a lot of people are familiar with how your business works, Lawrence, but I think it's worth noting that these documents that we're talking about is the mail that you essentially receive on behalf of all your clients, right? So
That's
so
correct.
you take in things like checks sent to them and bills sent to them, as well as lots of other things. And maybe you could just talk a little bit about all those types of things and how they're dealt with differently.
Yes. Prior to our involvement with Nividous, the staff would complain about the weight of having the mail that we pick up and have to individually, if you've seen those plastic letter openers with the little razor blade in there, have to open it up, go in, take out the document, and then stack them and then prepare them for processing for our clients. So each of our clients would have a utility bill, maybe a cable bill, telephone bill, and then there was communication from the federal government on behalf of our clients. And these documents can be anywhere from 2 to 17 pages in length. And we would all have to manually take those documents out of an envelope and then process them. As a result of our involvement with Nividous, they pointed us to a resource that has a technology, a machine that will open the documents, open the mail, extract the documents, and then Nividous has the technology where the bot read the document and assign to each client's records.
All right, thanks for that. I think I was afraid that maybe not everyone understood enough about your business to know what we meant when we were talking about these documents. I know before I met you, I had no idea that businesses like this existed. But the key point is that regardless of what kind of business that you're in, if you have these kinds of problems that you're trying to solve in your organization, these same technologies that we're talking about here, artificial intelligence, as well as the other suite of tools in the intelligent automation space, are something that you should look into because they could really get rid of a lot of the manual effort that's required for you to run your day-to-day operations. So I think we've covered all of the material that we wanted to cover here today. Lawrence, do you have any closing thoughts or words of wisdom to share with people before we close the webinar out?
I would say, in closing, the one apprehension that we faced was being able to be productive in an environment that we were clueless as to how it works. And the one thing I would say as a asset in terms of working with the Nividous team, not only do they have the technical expertise to solve the issues that we have, but to be able to translate that so that we're all speaking the same language at the same time, which actually help accelerate our creating of this, what I'm calling the digital transformation of SMILE Payee Services. So it's been a pleasure to have this opportunity to share this time with you and look forward to answering any questions or participating in more webinars in the future.
Thanks a lot, Lawrence. We appreciate your time today. And I know we're just about out of time, so I'll turn it over to you, Shaylee, to close us out.
All right. Thank you both for the informative session, and I hope our attendees gain valuable insights. We really appreciate you all taking the time to join us today. Our contact information is on the screen. Reach out in case you have any questions, and we will get back to you. We do have a great lineup of next webinars, and we hope to see you again in our upcoming sessions. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day ahead.